Hi, welcome back to another Wednesday with me, yours truly, Riley. I've seen that more people watch Wednesdays than Sundays just because I'm better than Brad, obviously. So I'm going to start today with, that's funny, with a verse, Romans 8:14 through 16, and it says, "For all who are led by the Spirit of God are sons of God. For you do not receive the spirit of slavery to fall back into fear, but you have received the spirit of adoption as sons, by whom we cry, Abba, Father. The Spirit himself bears witness with our spirit that we are not children of God." So today, as for you guys are all teenagers, and I mean, I'm a college student, but there's one word that none of us ever want to have on us. This word is just terrible. I hate it as a college student. You guys hate it as just teenagers and high schoolers and even some middle schoolers. And that word is rejection. No one likes that word. For instance, I mean, there's one way of getting rejected, which is for you guys are like, man, I really want to ask this girl out. I really want to. And all your buddies are pushing you and they're like, if you don't do it, I'll go tell her myself. And trust me, nobody wants to be in that situation. And you guys are just sweating. You guys are like, man, I smell bad and all this. You guys are shaking. You're going through that weird, awkward stage where you have that voice crack. No one likes that. And the number one thing is, over all of that stuff, is you're afraid of getting rejected. You have almost no motivation at all, other than the guys will tell her themselves if you don't in that next 30 minutes, whatever. But there's also other forms of rejection, which is maybe from a job. You want to go work at a job and they're like, sorry, nope, you can't work here. Or sadly, for some of us, you could have a friend that rejects you. Maybe because you maybe messed up, or they're just really angry with you, or whatever the situation is. I know a lot of girls, they go through this kind of stuff a whole lot. And finally, another way of getting rejected is just by some random people on the street. You just ask them hey, can I help you with something? Or hey, I can do this for you. And they look down at you and they're like, well, one, you're a teenager, so I can't really trust you. Two, you probably don't know what you're doing because you're a teenager. And three, I'd rather handle this by myself than talk to you because you're crazy. For the most part, most of us are crazy, which is a good thing. I'm still crazy and I want to stay crazy, I hope. And so just when we go and just think about all just different types of just rejection, we always see that every time we get rejected, we usually did not have any motivation at all, usually. And let me explain this. So I mean, as you asking a girl out, or if the girl is asking the guy out, which the girl should never ask the guy out, it should be the other way around, always. But so let's say at a job, usually you're probably forced to go because your mom's like, hey, I want you to go work at a job. It's not hey, I want to save money so I can do this, this, and this. Usually that's not what it is. And so you're just not really motivated, you just feel forced. And so most of us don't usually feel motivated after we get rejected and before we get rejected. And I just want you guys to start reading 1 Samuel 17:32 through 37 right before we start just digging into the scripture. All right, see you then. Hey guys, thank you for reading 1 Samuel 17:32 through 37. And I know that we missed a couple verses from last week to this week, and I didn't purposely skip them. I'm just gonna go and just give you a whole general idea of what was happening. So David, he just finally heard about Goliath throughout his 40 days of just saying, hey, somebody fight me. He just finally heard that someone wants to fight him. And he's looking around at all the Israelites and he's like, why the heck has no one stepped up? I mean, you guys have God on your side, right? So why is nobody stepping up to fight? And David gets frustrated and he's like, what the heck are you guys doing? And so then he asks, he's like, hey, what happens if we do defeat Goliath? What do we get? And for us guys, this is probably the best prize you could ever get, which is you get the king's daughter's hand in marriage. That is a big win. Like that is a W.
Okay. And so David is like, you guys are crazy. You guys are not going to fight him even though you have God on your side. So when we go into verse 32, we see that David was the only one that is bold enough to say, hey, I'll fight Goliath in all these 40 days. And it's weird because, I mean, usually Saul would be like, the King Saul, he would usually just say, okay, well, that's our first one. You go ahead and you go out and fight. But Saul sees him and he's like, that was kind of funny. I mean, you're just a boy. That was a funny joke. And so when we go into verse 33, Saul told David that even though you're the only one that's like bold enough to fight, I didn't want you to fight because you are small. You have a small stature. And I don't want that from you. I don't want you to just go out there and get killed. I don't want you to just get squashed like a bug. That is not the goal. And he also says that he has seen Goliath, and he has seen that when Goliath was a child, he was in war. He was always fighting. And I mean, David, he's a shepherd. He hasn't fought at all. He's very, very small. Probably the only weapon he's ever held was maybe like a little staff, you know? That's what Saul thought. And when we go into verse 34 through 36, I just want to read a little bit of it. And the best way to describe these next verses is David is a bad donkey. Okay, he really is. And I'm just going to read a couple of them real quick for you guys. So verse 34 through 36. And David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went out after him, and smote him, and delivered it to its mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be like one of them, seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God. So first I want to say that David, he's been in battle. It's been a different battle. He's not been in a war, but he's been in battles. He has killed a lion and a bear. And when you think about like the 99 sheep and the one that's lost, it's kind of similar to that. David's not going to let one of his sheep go. He's not going to let it happen. He will kill everything that attacks his sheep. He killed both bear and lion. I don't even want to mess with either of those two. I mean, you've heard the term poke a bear. You don't want to do that. That is just a dumb idea. And David's killed both. And so David says to Saul, he's like, I've killed both lion and bear. And that uncircumcised Philistine, which is Goliath, he's going to be like one of them. I'm going to just kill him like an animal. I'm going to slaughter him. And he knows that God is on his side. And when we go into verse 37, we can already realize that David has been working his whole life to fight Goliath. He has killed lions, he has killed bears, he's probably killed many other things as well, all because he has stayed faithful to God. He has always been motivated because he is with God. And every time he gets rejected by Saul, he is like, you're funny. And he takes that rejection as a motivation. Every time someone says, oh, you're too small, you're too weak, you can't do this, you can't do that, David can back it up now because he has stayed faithful to God throughout all of Scripture until, of course, later down on the line when he is king. But he has stayed faithful to God before fighting Goliath, and because of that, he is being rewarded by all of this and getting the chance to fight Goliath with the king's permission. And I mean, I can just imagine this with David talking to Saul. It's like watching a UFC or like a boxing or even like a WWE thing. Before the whole fight starts, you're just looking at like each other and you're like, man, I could take this guy. This guy's a joke. I've defeated way easier than this. And then the enemy comes out and he's like way bigger than him. Like I can just imagine that. And obviously the bigger guy wins, but in this scenario in the Bible, the smaller guy would win, which is David, which technically is bigger because he has God on his side. So just keeping all this in mind with just these couple of verses, it doesn't matter if you get rejected.
David got rejected by Saul. He used that as motivation, and he told Saul, hey, I've done this, 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 and this. Yes, I haven't been in an army, but I have done this. And so when you guys go out and you're like, hey, can I help you with this? Or hey, can I have this job? And they're like, well, have you ever done this before? You could say, well, no, but I've done this, this, and this. It doesn't make you 100% qualified, but they will see, hey, you're a hardworking man. Hey, you want to really do this kind of stuff. You are determined to do this. And you'll probably get what you want out of that. And you just have to stay motivated, and not motivated by yourself, but you have to let God motivate you, okay? And you can't reject God. You got to stay motivated by God. And I just have a couple questions for you guys today, just to think about in your head, which is, when was the last time you actually felt motivated? Maybe by a friend, maybe by your parents, or whatever. And when was the last time you felt rejected? And with those two, compare them. Which one felt better? Did it feel better to get rejected or motivated? And you're usually gonna stay motivated, I hope. If you don't, that's just weird. But usually everybody will stay motivated. And with that, why do you want to just stay feeling rejected? Why would you not go and try and get motivated again? Why do you just want to stay down? Why do you want to feel sad, depressed, or anything like that? Why? Why not just go back to God and be motivated again? And with all that, I just want you to see the book I've been studying. It's called Goliath Must Fall by Louis Giglow. And this Friday, this Saturday at 5, be here at the Pavilion. I'll see you soon. All right, bye.